In a time of universal deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act. George Orwell. Yeah. This is Blood Politics, the only podcast where we don't talk about politics. We be about politics. And our mission statement is to empower, educate, and encourage everyone to speak out against fascism, speak out against injustice, and fight for freedom and equality for everyone. This is Blood Politics. And we ain't stopping till they put us in the grave. We ain't gonna be quiet. And we ain't gonna be scared. And we ain't gonna go along with the crowd. This is Blood Politics. And it ain't about
what's up, guys? Let's go.
It ain't about Dem or Republican.
Hit that like button on the way in.
Right and wrong. It's about us versus them. This is Blood Politics.
All right,
And we
gang, what do you say we just hop right into it? What's up, gang? We are back for another episode of Blunt Politics. I really do appreciate you guys for joining me. I appreciate everybody over on this space for everything that you guys do. Once again, very proud to be a part of this coalition. Thank you to Matt. Thank you to the mods. Thank you to the beautiful chat over here at Blunt Politics. You guys have been and continue to be fan-friggin-tastic. So what do you say we bring you guys in for a little screen time? What do you say we give you a little screen time? We'll say hi to everybody. What's going on, Mr. Foss? What's happening, Ian? What's going on, Twiggy? What's going on, Evie Zant? How's everybody doing on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitch? All the whole platforms. I appreciate you guys. I don't think the Substack went up for some reason. We'll see if we can get that figured out before tonight's show, but lots to get into, lots to talk about. What's up, George? What's going on, everybody? Filter in. Welcome in, one and all. Make sure you hit that like button on the way in. Really helps to show everybody, especially the algorithm, that we're live and to, kind of filter people into the show. So what's going on, William? What's up, Shell? How are you? What's going on, everybody? What's up, Roxanne? What's up, Rox? Thank you to the mods, as always. You guys are fantastic. And I do just want to give a huge thank you to everybody for the overwhelming reception and, the people that have been already going over to the Blunt Politics shop there that we just kind of put back up and running. So, to see people already going over there and showing their love and showing their support is friggin' fantastic. Again, you can head over there at bostonbrian.com. Kind of gives you all of the info, all of the updates that you need to know, whether it's show times. You can check out the YouTube. You can check out the Patreon from bostonbrian.com. And obviously, you can click on the new merch shop that we got going on. Everything's done in-house. Everything is by us, for us, and with us. There is no outside help. There is no outside influence. We try to do things the right way, and we're just trying to make this kind of a viable show. We're trying to make this so we can continue to fight the good fight and to make sure that, again, we can put some food in our stomachs and pay the light bill, because that's very important when you do a podcast. Power is money. Money is power. Unfortunately, that's the way it goes. So, again, if you have a buck or two to kick over to the Venmo, if you're watching the show, you find some value, you like what you're watching, you can sign up for a YouTube membership just underneath me. We can check out the Patreon at patreon.com/Boston Brian. Tomorrow is going to be the VIP Zoom. Make sure you signed up at the Patreon. You can get the access to the VIP link tomorrow night. Basically, just a Zoom chat every month that we do for everybody that's signed up at patreon.com. Just kind of, lets you get a little bit more acquainted with the people in the chat. You can put a face to the screen name. We just kind of shoot the shit. Again, no content is hidden behind a paywall. You don't have to pay for the Substack. Again, there are no sponsors, no financial backers, nothing like that. So again, I really want to thank everybody who ordered something from the Blunt Politics shop, since it went back up. So you guys continue to be fantastic, and the support that you guys continue to show us. We're trying to get to 20,000 subscribers before midterm so we can kick the ultimate amount of GOP ass. So again, I want to make sure to thank you guys. All right. We got a lot to discuss today. Obviously, today is March 25th, Wednesday, March 25th. We'll be discussing, obviously, the good news. We'll be starting off the show with some good news. I know it's a rarity. I know it's strange. I understand. It's probably not something you're comfortable with. I know it's probably a little bit weird feeling, understandably, to start off the show with some good news. But I will obviously be kicking it off with some good news. We'll be taking a look at, obviously, the Trump war present kind of clip or video clip that people have been discussing, which is, again, probably one of the more ridiculous comments, one of the more ridiculous clips to come out of this whole saga. If you're accepting presents from the country that you're now supposedly at war with or attacking, trying to install a new regime in, right? You're bombing hospitals, schools, like this whole thing has destabilized the region, but you're also accepting presents from them. Like, all right, just kind of shows you a little bit of like the wackiness and the craziness and like how demented our leadership is and what's actually taking place. So we'll be looking at that. And then we got a couple more videos of, some maggots seeing the light. I know we played, I think it was yesterday, the guy that had the construction company down in southern Texas that was like shocked to see that ICE was affecting his business and he had no more workers to kind of pick from in that regard. But we also played the woman that was getting her gas. I think it was Pennsylvania, if I'm not mistaken, and she was a 3-time Trump voter. And she kind of, came to see the light, and she was like, well, I guess I'm the idiot in this regard because, apparently it took her filling up her gas tank to recognize all of the craziness that we've been talking about for the last probably 10 years plus. We also have another clip from James O'Brien tearing into Donald Trump, as only James O'Brien can do. Some updates from the front lines. We got an I've Had It podcast clip here to talk about. And then I think I have a video. I might save it for tonight's podcast, 8:30 p.m., right here, same place. Because I'm just a little worried. I got to think about obviously this space and that side of things as well, and I don't want to put them at any risk of any copyright infringement or anything like that. So I think I might save it for tonight. I myself don't give a shit. I don't have any problems with like playing those things. I think if you put it on the YouTubes, then everybody should be able to kind of talk about it, speak about it, use it to inform their audience. But again, that's just me. So I think we'll save that for this evening. But what do you say we throw on a little bit of the good news to start off with? Again, this is just. It's a chef's kiss. It really is. It's a chef's kiss because it's not often do you get to say that Dems flipped the Florida district that also encompasses Mar-A-Lago. I mean, if that's not just a straight kick in the nuts for Donald Trump, right? We always continue to talk about these like signals and the signs and the clear indications to the GOP that they're in for some shit when it comes to the midterm elections and even going into the general election. Well, again, if this isn't a brutal fucking wake-up call, like if this isn't just a really good piece of propaganda, at the very least, that we could be using out there to just kind of show the American people, show the mainstream media, like just how bad it is for the GOP right now, this should probably do it. We got a couple clips to dive into. This is just kind of a local news clip, but I think they do a pretty good job at recapping it. It's only about 30 seconds long. And then we got one here from Harry Enton as well on CNN, where he kind of runs the numbers and talks about the same thing. And then he brings up also, what a bad look this is and how detrimental this is going to be for the GOP's hopes when it comes to midterms. But again, also why we're seeing the little tricks and games being played by the GOP behind the scenes to try to affect and impact midterm elections, whether it be, voter rolls, voter registration, changing the laws, gerrymandering, whatever it may be. Sending Tulsi Gabbard in, fake investigations, all of the things that we've talked about here on the show. Is probably, this is the reason why they have to do that behind the scenes, because they recognize exactly how bad it is for them in reality. But let's see if we can dive into this local news clip here where they just kind of detail the Florida win. I believe her name is, if I'm not mistaken, let me get it right, Emily Gregory in Florida took down the Republican challengers. All right, let's dive into this quick clip and laugh at Donald Trump's expense. How about that? Hit that like button. I'm Boston Brian. I appreciate you guys joining me. I really do. Hit that like, subscribe to the channel. We're on our way to 20K.
Democrats flipped the Republican-held Florida State House district on Tuesday. It's a district that includes President Donald Trump's Mar-A-Lago resort. Democrat Emily Gregory.
That will just never get old to hear. That will just never get old to hear. Democrats flip a seat that encompasses Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago, the Southern White House, as they call it. Couldn't even win that fucking district. That's how bad things have gotten right now for Donald Trump, the economy, foreign policy, obviously domestic policy. It's just that bad, and we continue to see this. This is in a long line of special elections that we've covered here on Blunt Politics that, everybody's been covering. Obviously, I'm not saying that we've been doing it alone, but, we've talked about multiple special elections in which the Democrats have completely overperformed or even straight out won these elections in the purple, in the deep red districts that would never even think twice usually of voting for a Democrat. But we either saw, substantial growth, whether it be in the percentage of votes that they got, or again, they won that outright. And that's been consistent. That has been a through line for the last however many months these special elections and other elections and things that we could point to have been going on. I mean, again, this is just another piece of that puzzle, another kind of slap in the face, a kick in the dick to the GOP. And if that doesn't cause them to, recognize the realities of where they are as far as, the sentiment of the public, the sentiment of the world writ large of the Trump regime right now, then I'm not sure what's really going to bring them to reality. But again, you kind of have to wonder, have they kind of seen this coming? Did they know about this? Did they foresee, did they have these polling numbers already in hand to suggest that Donald Trump was so fucking unpopular that they were going to have to steal these elections behind the scenes? Like they were going to have to threaten these states to hand over the voter rolls so they could fucking, pick and choose what people they wanted to leave on there or kick off the voter registration rolls so that when you showed up to vote, oh, sorry, your name's not here. Next thing you know, you can't vote in this election because you got to go through all the paperwork and rigmarole to re-register. So that's why we continuously say on the show, make sure you guys are up to speed and aware of voting policies, voting regulations in your area, your district, your town, your state, your municipality, whatever it may be. Like, make sure you guys know what the hell is going on, especially with the USPS, the Postal Service and the changes to their rules and regulations. Make sure you guys are up to speed and up to date on what's going on with mail-in voting, everything like that, to make sure that there is absolutely no excuse whatsoever for your vote not to be counted come midterm elections and come the general. So again, on to a little bit more about this Democrat win in Florida that again encompassed Mar-A-Lago. It's just so good. It's so good.
Beat out Republican John Maples for the 87th district seat in the Florida State House. The seat was left vacant after Mike Caruso resigned and was appointed Palm Beach County Clerk. This is the 10th GOP-held state legislative seat Democrats have flipped across the country since President Trump returned to office last year.
10th, okay? Not second, not first, not third, not even fifth as like a wake-up call. The 10th. So I don't know what Mike Johnson's feeling behind the scenes. I don't know what Thune is feeling behind the scenes, but I can sure that it's anxiousness. Like, I'm sure that they're sick and tired right now of having to cover up for Donald Trump, like at every moment. I think there was a press conference with Mike Johnson. I don't know if it was this morning or if it was last night, where he's trying to come out with, the propaganda of what Donald Trump meant and what Donald Trump said. And the reporter's like, no, I'm sorry. He said this specifically in the Oval Office. And then, Mike Johnson was like, stuck in the middle. Like he had nowhere to go, nothing to say. And he can't continue to look like that, right? There's just no way. As sycophantic as these people are, as much as they love the position of power that they have and the proximity to power that they have, like there's no way you can continue to looking like a moron every single day in front of cameras. Right? I refuse to believe it. But, even to this extent, there's no way for them to come out and put a good spin on this. There's no way for them to kind of come out and lie and say that this, that, or the other thing happened, and that's why we saw this result. No, it's just pure and utter, anger from the American people right now at what they're seeing happen, not only in their daily lives, right? And there's a clip I pulled up. I don't know if I have it still pulled up right now, but there's a clip where CNN talks about the routes that these shipping containers, the container ships are already taken around Africa, which is already putting on, double the time, triple the cost onto these, which is going to inevitably filter down to you guys, to the consumer, to the people that are getting the goods that are on the ships, as we've been continuously talking about on the show.
Republicans have not flipped any Democratic state legislative seats during that time. 10-0,
baby. 10-0. So again, 10.
Polls just closing in a special election race in Florida that's getting.
10-0 as far as seats flipped in favor of the Democrats. And again, this kind of will show that as well. Here's a CNN clip where kind of Harry Enton runs the numbers on this race and kind of details just how drastically, not good this is, to say the least, for the GOP. This is runs and numbers. What happens around Mar-A-Lago? Really big signs. Enton on Florida Dem adding to string of special election flips. And we only have to go into a couple minutes of this. But again, I think this details pretty well the state of the GOP and what exactly they're facing. And again, the earlier they can recognize that, I'm sure they already have. But again, I'm probably the better off they'll be in trying to, turn this whole thing around, which they're not going to be able to do.
CNN projects Democrat Emily Gregory will flip a Republican-held state House seat whose district includes President Trump's Mar-A-Lago resort. CNN chief data analyst Harry Enton is with me now. I mean, Ouch.
How delicious for Democrats this morning. My goodness gracious, they're waking up. Maybe they're going to get brunch at Mar-A-Lago and say, yummy, yummy, because this result will make their stomachs feel quite good indeed. Florida's 87th House District election margin, Sarah is laughing over there. Look at this. In 2024, Donald Trump won it by 11 points. Look at this swing all the way to the left. We got Gregory, the Democrat, winning it by 2 points in this state house special election. I will also note that they flipped a state Senate district as well further north in the state. So double fun for Democrats in a state that they have been struggling with. Democrats have lost so much power in Florida over the last decade, and then they're able to win in Donald Trump's backyard.
So again, the trend continues. Okay, this is not a fluke. This is not a one-time event. This is not a two-time event. This is clearly what the American people are feeling as far as frustration, anger, regret for their vote, seemingly in the districts that we've seen these special elections take place in, and obviously the result from those special elections, like clearly showing regret. And we have another video here that we'll show in just a little bit of more people feeling that kind of the pinch, feeling the regret of their vote, or 3 votes, I should say, voting for Donald Trump again. What they didn't think was going to happen to them, how they thought that they were going to be the ones saved, though they were going to be the ones that were secure in this, and Donald Trump was going to go after everybody else and leave them alone. Somehow everything was going to be worse for everybody else, but better just for them. But now they're feeling the repercussions of their vote. So there's a video we're going to play in just a second. But this goes to show here, kind of the similar aspects of what we're talking about. This is a Reuters article. Trump's approval hits new 36% low as fuel prices surge amid Iran war. This is from a Reuters Ipsos poll. And again, as we typically take polls with a grain of salt, this has been pretty consistent as far as the decline of Donald Trump's approval, especially as the Iran war has kicked off. Trump's approval falls to 36%. 1 in 4 approve of Trump's handling of cost of living. 35% approve of U.S. strikes on Iran, down from 37%. So even the people that were supporting this to begin with are starting to run away, starting to back away from their support of this fucking war. President Donald Trump's approval rating fell in recent days to its lowest point since he returned to the White House, hit by a surge in fuel prices and widespread disapproval of the war he launched in Iran. The 4-day poll completed on Monday showed 36% of Americans approve of Trump's job performance, down from 40%. Again, you can see that drastically declining, steadily declining as well. Here's just a look at some of that. The 62% that disapprove compared to the 36% that do approve. And you can even see here that even on the economy, right, even at the lowest that Joe Biden was ever approved, his approval rating was on the economy, which I think is 32% here. I think a few times it was at 32%. Well, Donald Trump now is at 29% on the economy, right? Do you approve of how the president is handling the economy? Here's the results right here. So as much as you were hearing about from the Republicans, from the GOP, how, mishandled and egregious, Biden was with the economy and how much the American people were struggling, like they are far worse than the worst point that they could get the American people to believe that the economy was under Joe Biden. Like they're now well below that. So that just goes to show just how unpopular his policies and what has taken place really is. Like even lower than the lowest that Joe Biden's approval was on the economy at any point during his presidency. Which, again, should tell you something considering the way that, we heard people attacking the economy under Biden. But this just goes to show Trump's standing with his Republican Party remains mostly strong. Only about 1 in 5 Republicans said that they disapprove of his overall performance in the White House. Little change from about 1 in 7 last week. But the shares of Republicans who disapprove of his handling of the cost of living rose to 34% from 27% just last week. Again, showing the change, the people that are starting to recognize, or at least starting to take that recognition and using it to filter away from their pick, from their defense of the GOP, defense of the Trump regime here. The early Reuters Ipsos surveys were conducted in the immediate aftermath of the first U.S. and Israeli strikes, when many Americans were still learning about the situation, and respondents were given an option of saying that they were unsure of their views. This goes on to talk about, found that it found 27% approved of the strikes, 43% disapproved, and 29% were unsure. Again, it's also the wording of these polls that has basically a drastic effect on what the response will be. But again, just to show you the unpopularity, how the American people still ultimately do disapprove greatly of what this fucking regime is undertaking right now. The polls have been pretty consistent. You can see the decline is pretty consistent, even within the base, right? I know it's a fraction, it's a percentage, but again, it doesn't show that the support is growing. Like we've told you guys historically, in these wars, the approval rating for it, the support for it goes down as time goes on, as the death, as the body count grows, as the amount spent on the war grows, as the secondary impacts to the Americans and the world at large are felt. Like that's when the people become, more pissed off, more disillusioned with the war. So we're already starting to see that even with the people that approved of it on the Republican side to begin with. You're already starting to see that shift. And again, we all know what state the Republican commentary is in right now as far as the podcasts, the live streams, the people that run those, the Benny Johnsons, the Tim Pools, the Ben Shapiros, the Megyn Kellys, the peanut butter dickheads, right? The rest of these douchebags that have their podcast, they're all fighting with each other now instead of taking the White House's memos and rhetoric and using that to attack Democrats, to attack and lie about Democratic policies. To lie and attack about Democratic politicians and what they want to see happen if they were to get in office. That's when they're most impactful. That's when they're most effective. And that's not what they're doing right now. They're more concerned with the infighting and who's going to have the most power when Donald Trump finally takes his last breath on this fucking planet afterwards, and who can take over the MAGA base and make the most money doing their podcast, live stream, and propaganda. They're way more focused on that than they are anything else as far as going into midterms and helping the Republicans, gain any advantage or gain any points in this election. But all right, let's dive on to one of the, again, I know we've if I had $1 for every time I had to say this covering Donald Trump, one of the more crazier moments to ever happen inside of the Oval Office, one of the more ridiculous things ever said by a country now at war, like to be accepting gifts or to be lying about alleged and supposed gifts in which, Iran will come out immediately and say and mock Donald Trump for basically negotiating with himself in this regard. But to come out like this kind of even shocked his own administration, like the people even surrounding him were like, I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. Like, what's going on? Like, I have no idea. Like, you tell me, because this is pretty much a bad look. I think he said Pete Hegseth and General Kane were the first to be like, I don't know what's happening here. This is probably not good. Maybe we don't accept gold. Maybe we don't accept presents and gifts and bribes, even though, again, I'm using his words against him. I'm not actually taking this seriously as if it really took place. Again, this is probably another bit of Donald Trump's propaganda to make it seem like there are ongoing and standing negotiations that are really looking like a ceasefire is right on the horizon. Meanwhile, again, the Iranians are continuing to strike. The Iranians are continuing to mock Donald Trump for, again, negotiating with himself. Basically, in this regard, they've rejected the 15-point plan. I think they've even come back with their own little counter proposal, as it were. I think I have that pulled up somewhere as well. But let's take a look at this remarkable, ridiculous, insane, demented clip from Donald Trump inside of the White House, where he talks about receiving a present from Iran, and it was really substantial and it was tremendous, but I can't tell you anything about it. But I also got a gift from the nation we're now attacking, we're now bombing, we've committed war crimes on, we're sending more troops in, but we're also saying is 100% defeated, has no military capabilities, can't fire back, but we're also showing the examples of them firing back. Like, the whole thing's a fucking mess, right? It's all chaos. You guys know that. But listen to this bullshit.
Because they're going to make a deal. They're going to make it.
Remind you, again, added on to the craziness. This was said at the, the swearing in of Mark Wayne Mullen as the DHS secretary. Again, just to show you the state of the union and where we are right now. People that couldn't pass a fucking third grade vocab test are now leading the Department of, the DHS. It's just, again, that's kind of like the secondary aspect of this, as crazy as what Donald Trump says is, but just to kind of, remind everybody just the times that we're in, the timeline that we're now seeing. Yes, this was at the moment where Mark Wayne Mullen, Mark Wayne being one name, was sworn in at DHS here.
Yeah, they did something yesterday that was amazing, actually.
Oh, did they?
Gave us a present, and the present arrived today. And it was a very big present worth a tremendous amount of money. And I'm not going to tell you.
He seems excited. My first thought goes to like a solid gold butt plug. Like, that would be my first thought for Donald Trump. I don't know. He seems very excited about it. He can't tell people what it is, right? So gold, right off the bat, you got to think gold, because that's like, woo, gold to Donald Trump's like anything. He'd love to shove that right up his ass. So I'm thinking maybe a solid gold butt plug, if anything. and it was probably like delivered by somebody in his administration with a note that said "from Iran" to try to make it look like they were entering the negotiations.
What that present is, but it was a very significant prize, and they gave it to us, and they said they were going to give it. So that meant one thing to me: we're dealing with the right people.
Is that nuclear related?
No, it wasn't nuclear related. It was oil and gas related, and it was a very nice thing they did. But what it showed me is that we're dealing with the right people, because you don't know, because the leadership was killed, all gone. Khomeini, all gone. As the expression goes, the past supreme leader. And then the new supreme leader was racked up, at a minimum, racked up pretty good.
Racked up pretty good. You mean that same guy's son that you're talking about? So the same family, just more hardlined, again, younger, more capable, right? Going to be there for a longer period of time than his father would have been, considering the age discrepancy, the age difference there. Right. So again, the ridiculousness of being like, well, we also enacted a regime change, yet the same regime is in there. The same bullshit that they've been pulling with like Venezuela. Like, oh, it was so great to enact that regime change. It's like the same fucking regime's there. All you did was take the fucking head guy out. You left everybody else in charge, and the same shit's going on. What are you talking about? You just got more crazy people in there now.
It was gone. And then many of the people in the third.
But again,
tier,
imagine Churchill or imagine FDR, right? Like being like, oh, geez, look at this like great fucking present, this prize that Japan sent over, right? Look at this prize that Hitler sent over. Let me brag about that to the cameras. Again, it's just like, it's so asinine. Like, you'd have to be such a demented fool to think that this was anyway a good thing to make up. Like, to make this story up and then to be like, okay, I'm going to say this as if it's a good thing and it's going to show people that we're like working behind the scenes with some secret faction and that these are the real people and they're sending us gifts behind the scenes as we're bombing their people, right? As we continue to fucking destabilize the region. Like, it's completely fucking asinine. Like, this is the most like ridiculous timeline to ever be a part of right now, to have to like pick apart these moments of the president of the United States who got us in this needless, unconstitutional, illegal fucking war that we're now engaged in and have absolutely no off-ramp to get out of, or to expect, even if we did take an off-ramp, that Israel would follow us on that off-ramp and not continue their fucking, genocidal fucking plot to take over, wherever it is they want to take over at this point. It's crazy. The whole fucking thing is ridiculous, right? It is. And again, there's so many historical, one-to-ones comparisons that we could make that would like kind of show you how ridiculous it would be, right? I mean, and pick a war. And if we're going to stop being like, oh yeah, you know what? I know we're in a fucking full-fledged, full-scale war, with bodies and people dying on a daily basis, but let's exchange gifts. You got anything nice for me? And I'll see if I can find something nice for you. Like, what? Jesus Christ.
They're gone. But we're dealing with a group of people that I think turn out, and the present, the gift they made to us was very significant. And they said they were going to do it, and it happened. And they're the only ones that could have done it. Jennifer?
And again, the more he tries to make it seem like it happened, the less I believe it happened. Okay, the more times in a sentence he has to be like, no, it happened. It's real. It's tremendous. It's big. It's awesome. I can't tell you what it is, though. I haven't really thought that far as to like make up a description of this, make believe fucking thing that I received. But let's take it one step at a time. But it is real. It definitely happened, and believe me, ceasefire right around the corner because of this. And that really doesn't build too much trust when immediately after you see shit like this released by the Iranians, when they basically, again, like I said, quoted in this as saying, you have reached a stage where you're negotiating with yourselves. I mean, again, just fucking nutshot after nutshot after nutshot that Donald Trump continues to take in this. He says, this gentleman here goes on to say, there will be no news of your investments in the region, and you will never see the former price of energy and oil. Again, this is in direct response to Donald Trump's, I don't know, ridiculous statement that there was some sort of present, some sort of gift, some sort of prize given to him by, again, the regime that is now under full-scale attack by the United States military. You know what I mean? It's just, again, it's almost difficult to put into terms how ridiculous we've kind of drawn this and let this become. Like, this is drawn out to a point well past anybody on the left, the broader left side of things could have predicted we would be in, right? We told you it was going to be bad. We told you it was going to be really, really bad. We told you it would be fucking wicked bad if this guy got into office for the second time. But I don't think that anybody saw that it would get this depraved, like this fucking bad, this dangerous, this destabilized this quickly, right? Maybe in like year 3 or 4, when he was really starting to lose it, if his heart was still beating at that point, but not like this early on. Like, this is pretty fucking crazy shit. It really is. So again, that's why I give you guys all the credit in the world for sticking through all of this, continuing the fight. It's as important now as it has ever been for you guys to stay involved, to stay informed, to stay up to date on what's taking place, not only domestically, but also abroad, right? So I appreciate you guys spending your time here. I know that's, one of, if not the most important thing you have in your life. What do you say we get into a couple of these videos that I wanted to take a look at? What do you say we dive into? Here's kind of one, just showing you let's throw this one on. This is just quick. We only have to go into about the first minute or so of this one right here. But this is just kind of detailing the global shipping detour around Hormuz and exactly what we told you was going to come of this. And again, the secondary impacts, the secondary cost rises that are going to be, seen, paid for by your wallet when inevitably these goods make it to the market. And maybe not these specific ones, but you can see how this would work as far as global shipping on the whole and why things are going to get much more expensive the longer this continues. So again, this is CNN just detailing, how the shipping companies are already taking the long way around, which is already adding cost of fuel, cost to insurance, cost of the goods, which is going to be passed down to obviously the consumer here.
Cargo ships traveling from China to the Gulf are taking triple the usual time to arrive. That's what a shipping analyst tells CNN. Many vessels are now rerouting to Jeddah in Saudi Arabia instead of passing through the Strait of Hormuz to Dubai. And they're taking the long way to avoid the threat of potential Houthi militant attacks. The analyst says the ships are sailing.
And again, those Houthi militant attacks would be in the Strait, the Bab el-Mandeb, which is in obviously the, in around by Eritrea in Oman, the one that we continuously talk about that is at the end of the Red Sea where the Suez Canal is located, thus making the ships go all the way around the Horn of Africa, depending on where they're going from, from Asia the other way or from the Middle East over to Asia. You can see how that would be a drastic lengthening of their routes and would obviously add to the fuel prices, obviously add to the insurance, and obviously add to the shipping costs, which again will always be passed down to the consumer. Like, these companies aren't going to eat these costs whatsoever. That's not what CEOs do. That's not what corporations do. That's not what conglomerates do. They pass it on to you. They pass it on to me. And then they just, laugh all the way to the bank while they reinvest in their stock fucking portfolios. Okay. That's just not what happens. So again, this is going to be trickling down to you if you're not already seeing it in different goods, in different stores that you're shopping for on a daily basis that you need, in your daily life for either you or your children or your grandparents or your parents or whatever the hell it may be, your job. Again, this is going to filter down to a lot of different things, above and beyond just the fuel that you put in your car, which is the point that we're trying to get across here.
Across the Indian Ocean and around the southern tip of Africa, up through the Mediterranean Sea, and then down through the Suez Canal into the Red Sea from the top. Now, not only does that take about 60 days compared to...
And again, this is all because of the threat, right? This is just because of the threat and the statement released by not only the Iranians, but also the proxies there, where they basically said, hey, keep fucking around and you're going to find out. And not only are we going to keep the Strait of Hormuz shut, but we're also going to close this strait down here, which would add to the economic, impacts exponentially as far as global trade, global shipping, the price of goods, right? The pressure put on, the world economy so that the citizenry of those countries put pressure on their governments to stop these actions, which is the overall goal, the overall plan by the Iranians, continue to put as much pressure on the world economy, continue to put as much pressure on people in these different shipping lanes and shipping routes so that the people of these countries inevitably get pissed off, fed up, and sick and tired of paying the exponentially, higher prices, and eventually say something to their governments, demand their governments act and stop this fucking silliness. So that's, again, the goal, the general goal by the Iranians. But they don't need to necessarily even strike ships. They don't necessarily need to fucking have the missile capability or the drone capability to hit the strait. Just the fucking threat alone is causing these shipping companies to be like, well, you know what? Let's go the long way around. It's added cost. But again, at some point, we can make it work. It might not be sustainable for a long period of time. And the only way it does become sustainable is if people are, they become normalized to paying the extra and added cost for taking the longer route, paying the added cost for gas, right? If that's the only way it becomes normalized or sustainable. If people aren't willing to continue to pay those prices, it's not fucking sustainable. But you can see the economic impacts. You can see how just the threats alone, which is why we've continued to tell people here that, like, the Iranian military doesn't need to be, the size of the German fucking military it was when it invaded Russia. It doesn't need to have this, overwhelming blitzkrieg type of offensive capabilities. It doesn't need to have the biggest air force. It doesn't need to have any air force. It doesn't need to have any navy. But they can still affect this goal. They can still affect this plan to put the pressure and stranglehold on the fucking global shipping as far as through the Strait of Hormuz. And all they need is their drone capabilities, which we know they have fucking buku drones. They have the ability to continue to pump out those cheap, very deadly drones if put into the right situations. I think Preston Stewart, just before I came on, put out a video detailing that there were more drones seen over U.S. bases in Iraq, if I'm not mistaken. I didn't get a chance to dive into it, nor did I think we'd have time in the show. Maybe we'll check that out tonight on tonight's broadcast. But again, that's not a good sign. That's not a sign to say that this is ramping down. This isn't a sign to say that the U.S. is even ready to defend against it. The fact that they still have the capabilities to fly these FPV drones around and over U.S. bases in these areas without anybody shooting it down, without it being detected first off. And again, it could have possibly been detected in the base on lockdown and that type of stuff. But the fact that there was no defensive actions taken is not a good sign. And we continue to point out the lies and the propaganda told to you by Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump. We're forced to show you the evidence of nightly strikes, whether it be ballistic missiles, whether they be drone strikes. We've seen it again where they've had the ability to penetrate the Iron Dome and strike Israel. Again, we don't do it to say good job. We don't do it to applaud. We don't do it to put a smile on anybody's face. We do it because you're being lied to. And the only way you're going to know that you're being lied to is to see the direct evidence of what's happening continuously on a daily and nightly basis, despite what you're being told by the U.S. and Israeli governments.
The previous 20, it's almost
Let
four
me throw this
times
back on the screen for you guys. My apologies. Here we go.
more expensive.
So you can see, so the route is 3 times longer and it's 4 times as expensive to take the route that they're now currently taking. What do you think that's going to result in? You think that's going to be cheaper goods? You think you're going to be paying less for the goods at the store than you were previously because of this added length to the route, the added gas cost, right? The added cost of insurance to take this route? No. You guys are going to pay for this. You guys are going to foot the bill. We as Americans and people as consumers, on the world stage are going to foot the bill, which is, again, the whole ploy, the whole plan to make sure that we feel the effects of the dumb actions of our government, to make sure that we put the pressure on our government to stop this bullshit. So again, you can see how they don't necessarily need in Iran this like ridiculously sized, overwhelming, overpowering military to get this job done and to continue this fight for quite some time. Again, the cheap and easy drone production skills that we know Iran has, their ability to go underground, the vastness of Iran in general, and to think that you could stop or even know about all of these drone production sites if they're underground in these different remote parts of Iran is ridiculous, right? And again, we've seen ongoing strikes in and around the Strait of Hormuz to try to combat these the local attacks that we've seen from the places in and around, like the smaller islands around the Strait of Hormuz. But again, we've already seen ample videos come out of the Iranians, from the Iranians to show that they have these boats lined up for fucking miles and miles and miles in these underground bunkers, these underground tunnels, the ones that have been really effective against, the ships and the shipping lane of the Strait of Hormuz, which they've used to great effect, which isn't even bringing into account their drone capabilities yet. So again, you can see how this is spiraled out of control. You can see the secondary impacts from it, and you can see how you, at the end of the day, are going to have to foot the bill.
And business senior reporter Hannah Zaidi joins us live now from London. So the data suggesting here that several ships have passed through the Strait of Hormuz in just the past day. So what can you tell us about that?
We don't have to go into much more of this, but again, she's right, because people that do seemingly have deals with the with the Iranian regime have been allowed to pass through the strait, which is again a bigger smack in the face. A bigger FU to the United States, where it's like, it's technically not closed. We're allowing people that we find to be friendly that weren't really, lobbing missiles into girls' schools in our country. Those ships can pass, but not you sons of bitches, right? So again, you can see how they're kind of, showing their power over the strait still in that regard. But let's just play this short clip. I know I'm quickly running out of time here, so I want to make sure that I get this in so that we can follow this trend that we've been seeing of people regretting their vote. I do believe that this is another 3-time Trump voter. I don't know if that is specified in here, but he does specify that he did in the last election vote for Donald Trump. And again, this is kind of hitting home, much like the construction site one did. Growing up working blue collar jobs my entire life, construction, masonry, roofing, whatever you want to detail and point to. I've probably been a part of it, but the industries, especially in and around Boston, like the fishermen, an industry that has been greatly impacted for quite some time with, again, the cost of living, rise, with the price in fuel rise, and making it almost not sustainable for these people to continue to do this job. So to see people like this that actively voted against their best interest, their self-interest, and now they're having to find out the most difficult way, which is, their business, their industry, seeing the effects of it. Then again, it's crazy to me that it takes to this point for them to see the light, right? And we use this for our political benefit, to go against, the GOP, to combat the Trump regime, to use the people that voted for them against them, right? This is no flowers, no sympathy for any of these people. Again, if it wasn't the sexual assault of E. Jean Carroll, if it wasn't the 34, felony counts, if it wasn't January 6th, if it wasn't him telling people he could grab women by the pussy just because he's a star and they let you do it, if it wasn't any of that stuff, if it wasn't his involvement in the Donald Trump files with a brief mention of Jeffrey Epstein in them, if it wasn't any of that stuff, and it was somehow because your wallet is being impacted right now, then you get no sympathy, no respect, no fucking credit for me whatsoever, okay? Much like we used the lady at the gas station to great effect, but also no credit, no sympathy. If you're going to be sitting there bitching and complaining while filling up your fucking gas tank and didn't care about the women he was sexually assaulting and the fucking Epstein files he's a part of more than Jeffrey Epstein himself, then fucking pound sand. You can stick it straight up your ass. Thanks for the clip. We'll use it for our political fucking use. But that's about it. That's about all you're getting. So same thing with this guy, apparently a fisherman that is now being impacted by not only the rising diesel prices, but obviously, I'm sure, trying to find help in his industry as well. So what do you say we take a look at this? I think this is only about a minute or two long. Again, this is somebody else, another Trump voter, kind of coming to the light, seeing that his vote, was not the right one, and that he was greatly manipulated and really, really stupid for voting for Donald Trump. All right, let's dive into it.
Our suppliers never rolled back their prices.
Now, the manager of this family.
It would be great if I started at the beginning. That would be perfect. I'm sure that is more beneficial to people. Back here. All right, here we go.
He pleaded to the people, make America great again. We're tearing America apart right now.
Fishermen here in Cortez, Florida are pissed off with the president who many of them voted for, and they're angry because of skyrocketing diesel prices.
I'm really scratching my head because
I don't know how they do it. I really don't. I mean, I remember working at a marina years ago in the area, and this was a conversation going on even back then, and we're talking shit. I'm going to age myself at this point, but probably some almost 20 years ago at this point, maybe a little less than 20 years ago, maybe a little less or more. But even at that point in time, it was like, the gas prices and of course, the diesel prices were already something that was impacting, the fishing industry, especially here, and I'm sure in other areas just like it, but I can only attest to the area that I live in. But it was greatly impacting the fishermen and the lobstermen and the people that went out to the deep sea fisheries and stuff like that, because the amount that you needed to catch just to pay for the fuel costs, just to pay for the fuel cost and the help that you needed to get to that catch is just, it didn't make sense. It wasn't viable. It wasn't sustainable. So I can't even imagine the kind of the hardships that people that are still in this industry are facing right now, considering the fuel cost, considering the cost of living, considering what we've seen in as far as like, the labor market. It's crazy to think that they would put themselves in this position, but that's the reality that we live in. Like people directly voting against their self-interest, right? Directly voting against, anything that would be beneficial or helpful to them in their daily lives, and being fucking damn happy to do it and being damn proud to tell people they did it. Well, again, that pride seems to be wavering. That pride seems to be waning on us really, really rapidly for these people. And it's becoming very, very clear, very, very quickly, only because it's now impacting their daily lives, their careers, and their wallets. If it was somebody else's life, if it was somebody else's family being torn apart, if it was somebody else's career being torn apart, if it was somebody else's industry being torn apart, they wouldn't give a flying fuck. Okay, which is exactly why I give them no credit, sympathy, empathy, compassion, whatever the fuck you want to call it. They get none of it. But I will use their video against the GOP to further our fucking political interest. I sure the fuck will.
Republican, and most of us in the fishing industry did, and we're not seeing the positives come out of it.
Now, before the war in Iran, gas coming from this pump in Cortez was going for $3.29 per gallon. Now, gas from this pump is closer to $5 a gallon. And for boats like this one, Linnea, which is about to go out on a 2-week sword fishing trip, it needs 4,600 gallons of diesel. And with prices like these, that's making business unsustainable. All of that on top of the fact that these fishermen are also having to contend.
And that's a fucking huge jump, okay? To go from, what did he say? What was it? The first cost around $3.59, did he say? And then to go to somewhere around that to almost $5 a gallon, especially if you're using 4,500 gallons per trip. I mean, again, you can see how these costs start to add up, and they did it to them fucking selves. It's craziness. It's crazy. We told you guys. We told you motherfuckers. You're voting against your self-interest. You're voting against anything that would be beneficial to you. Do you think we'd be in this position if your vote went the other direction? Do you think we'd be dealing with this bullshit? Would we be dealing with bullshit? Of course. We're always gonna have bullshit to deal with, but it wouldn't be this fucking bullshit. I can tell you that much.
President Trump's erratic tariff policy.
When the tariffs initially went into effect, there was a huge jump in all of our tackle and supplies. And even though the tariff percentages were rolled back a little bit, our suppliers never rolled back their prices.
Oh, funny. I think we actually called that as well. Isn't that something ridiculous that we said a billion fucking times, whether it be on this podcast or others here on the left? Do you think these fucking companies, do you think these CEOs and these conglomerates are going to lower the prices once they find out that the American public is willing to pay that price for that product? Hell the fuck no, because they don't care about your daily life. They don't care about your well-being. They care about their bottom line, their fucking stock traders, and the people that they're responsible to make money for. And that's about fucking it. They don't care if you're dead, dying, or in the fucking, in a piss puddle on the side of the road, motherfucker. Okay? That's why this is fucking happening, because they do not give a flying fuck about you. And the quicker and the sooner you realize that and get on the fucking side of being like, hey, maybe these pieces of shits are robbing us blind. Meanwhile, we're making less and less statistically, considering what the CEOs are making, considering what these businesses are now profiting from our labor off of our backs. Then maybe you would have a little better fucking discrepancy here if that wasn't a thing, if that wasn't a fucking problem. You think they were going to lower the prices back down, you dumb son of a bitch? Absolutely not. Nope. Not a fucking chance. Much like the companies that raise the prices because of the tariffs will inevitably get the tariffs back because of the fucking illegality and the unconstitutional nature of the fucking tariffs to begin with. Meanwhile, they charge you an exorbitant amount. They raise the rates on whatever product they're selling to adjust and to make sure that they didn't take the hit on the tariffs. But they're going to get the money back from the tariffs, but also not change the prices on the fucking product that they're selling. So they're getting it both ways, okay? They're getting their bag 2 times. Meanwhile, that bag is coming from your wallet, coming off of your back, coming off of your blood, sweat, and tears that you expended to put that money in the fucking savings account in the first place. So again, anybody that's like, well, you should have some empathy and some sympathy, fuck you and fuck these motherfuckers. How about that?
Manager of this family-run fishing company here in Cortez, Karen Bell, tells me that the tariffs and the diesel prices mean she's going to have to raise the price of fish. And that cost is ultimately going to be incurred by the customers.
Well, that's crazy. And again, you can take that through line to all of these industries, not just fishing, right? The clothing, all of the things that get to you by plane, train, automobile, and ship, okay? That's going to happen. The same fucking things. It's going to be added cost for the business. The business is then going to add onto the price of the fucking product. You guys are inevitably going to pay that price at the store to make sure that these companies don't take the hit on these added price rises. That's it. Simple. Pretty fucking simple. I didn't go to school or college for economics. It doesn't take a fucking genius to see that's what's going to happen. It doesn't take a genius to see that's already what's been happening. Okay? You just got to open your eyes. You just got to fucking look a little bit. That's all. It's pretty simple to see. Pretty simple to see. If a moron like me can find himself on the right side of history, right? If a moron like me can see through the fucking propaganda and the lies and the bullshit, then you can too. Then you can too. All right. I know this is probably going to be the last clip. I'm going to have to save a couple of these clips for tonight's podcast as well, which isn't bad. Gives us something to dive into as well. But what do you say we dive into? Fuck, this is going to probably take a little bit as well. I got to try to time this right, huh? What's up, chat? What's going on, guys? By the way, appreciate you guys. What's up, Dame? What's up, brother? What's up, Veronica? What's up, Ellen? What's up, Luck Dragon? What's up, Alyosha? Yakov? What's happening, brother? Appreciate you guys. Appreciate you guys. All right. We'll do this one. We'll save James O'Brien for this evening's podcast because that's kind of a really good video that there's a few moments that I wanted to dive into. So I don't want to cut that short. But let's just say we dive into the I've had it ladies and their stance on, I believe they're talking about Trump's crash out in his press conference. If I'm not mistaken, I wanted to dive into this with you guys. So what do you say we start this from the beginning? We dive into a few minutes of this. I'll start thanking some people. We'll get you guys out of here, and we'll see you this evening for tonight's 2-hour show. Appreciate you guys, as always, for your support. Thank you to everybody heading over to the Blunt Politics shop to get a hat, to get a shirt, to get whatever you guys are interested in. I really do appreciate you guys supporting this channel in every way that you guys do. It means the world to me. And again, we try to do things the right way. Everything in-house, no outside resources, no outside help. Nobody that can tell me what I can't talk about. So, all right, let's dive into a minute or two of this, and then we'll get into thanking some people. I do appreciate you. This is the I've Had It podcast. Trump blames Hegseth for everything during White House crash out. Let's see what they got to say.
The United States of America is at war with Iran, and our president is completely compromised on so many different fronts. Number one, he's a malignant narcissist. Number two, he's a dipshit. Number three, we know because he constantly talks about everybody else's IQ that some night he was up in his Marie Antoinette bedroom and he was served an IQ test. And he probably took it. I'm thinking double digits because he will not shut up about it because he himself has a low IQ. And he has been elected president of the United States. And the sane washing and sanitizing that goes on in the Western media about this man's brain and his mental acuity is one of the biggest moral shortcomings of Western democracies, in my opinion. Like the disservice the press has done to the public regarding his mental well-being is astounding, especially considering we have U.S. troops dying. TSA is not funded, but it's billions upon billions upon billions of dollars to go into a war where we were at zero risk with Iran. The previous president.
Again, it was no shock to me to see that Fox News was going hard on the, trying to interview anybody in the airports that was still waiting in a long line to get in front of a camera to say that it was the Democrats' fault. I think they had one of these fat slobs on there telling everybody it was because of the Schumer shutdown. Meanwhile, the Democrats have probably put forward, 6 or 7 different options to the Republicans to fund basically everything but ICE. In which we heard Kennedy go on Fox News and actually talk about how it was Trump himself that said no to the deal that would inevitably would have funded TSA. And they could have down the line figured out what they were going to do with the funding for ICE. But no, it was Donald Trump that said that. But it doesn't shock me that Fox News this morning was, again, right back on top of the, hey, blame Democrats that, again, have zero control in the government, even though the Republicans control the whole damn thing. And are directly responsible for saying no as far as the president is concerned. But again, you guys do your thing there, propaganda news.
2 presidents ago, Barack Obama had a nuclear deal with them. Now Trump's trying to get the same deal back. That's how stupid he is. That's how stupid the people surrounding him are. But they like to get caught up on semantics. Is it a war? Is it not a war? Well, when you have Pudding Boy, whose brain's completely cooked, Kanks talking about it, this is a little hypercut that Aaron.
Well, not only that, but you got Pete Hegseth going out there and at every turn calling it a battlefield, right? Calling them warriors, calling it a war himself. So again, they can't even get their own talking point straight. They don't know what they want to call it. You got Donald Trump literally reciting Vladimir Putin's talking points of calling it a special military operation. Did you have that in your bingo card? Like literally Donald Trump, the president of the United States, using Vladimir Putin's own propaganda term, the special military operation, which again, we'll be diving into some updates on the front lines and what's been taking place in the brutal Russian invasion of Ukraine recently on tonight's broadcast. So stay tuned. Check us out tonight for that as well. Again, this is an hour on the earlier show. We got 2 hours tonight, so a little bit more time to kind of dive into those things. So stick around tonight as usual for those updates as well. But again, another minute or two from this. And again, there was this one from, I don't know if I'm going to have time to get into it, but I think this was kind of the response here per the Wall Street Journal was talking about as far as Iran responding to Trump and his proposal for the ceasefire that they sent over after they said they had 2 days of really good negotiations. Like the whole thing is so messed up. But again, these are some of the demands, at least some of them that were kind of reported here. A new order for the Strait of Hormuz that would allow Iran to collect fees from ships that transit the waterway as Egypt does now with the Suez Canal. Guarantees that the war wouldn't restart and an end to Israel's strikes on the Iran-aligned Lebanese militia, Hezbollah, lifting all sanctions on Iran, permitting Iran to keep its missile program with no negotiations to limit. This is basically like a, hey, F you, Donald Trump. If you're going to ask me, like if you're asking my opinion, this is basically everything that they know Donald Trump would basically never agree to basically just throw it back in his face. Like, yeah, you want to talk about and lie that we're actually negotiating? This is what we want, okay? This is what we demand. And again, I think it says here in one of the OSINT posts that he had, it's basically extremely unlikely that the United States would ever agree to these things, but I don't think that was ever the purpose. I don't think that was ever the intent as far as the response there by the Iranians. But there's more to get into. We'll get into that tonight. Let's finish off this clip here from Jen and Pumps and see what they thought about this press conference here.
Part put together from the Oval Office yesterday. Watch this.
I like to say this. We've won this. This war has been won. The only one that likes to keep it going is the fake news. I mean, the New York Times. Do you want to give about a 3-minute statement on how we're doing in this, as I call it, military operation? People don't like me using the word war. But
I'm sorry. Did he just not use it in the sentence right before that?
Today, watch this.
I like to say this. We've won this. This war has been.
I'm sorry. Did he not just say the word war? We've won this war. This war is won. And in the very next sentence, he says he doesn't like calling it a. Good grief.
One. The only one that likes to keep it going is the fake news. I mean, the New York Times. Do you want to give about a 3-minute statement on how we're doing in this, as I call it, military operation? People don't like me using the word war, but so I won't. But the Democrats call it a war. And at a very difficult time because, we are at, as they would say, a war. They call it a war. I call it a military operation, a very successful one, successful like nobody's ever seen
before. Almost like a special one, almost like a special military operation. It's like so near and dear to your heart and so special and so well, calculated and well executed as you'd have everybody believe that. It's almost like you could call it a special military operation. I think I've heard that before. I really have. It's almost like somebody else was saying that well before Donald Trump decided to kind of make it seem like he created that.
Okay.
We'll end this. I just want to get their take on this, and I'll let you guys out here. We'll get into thanking some people for the afternoon.
Also in this interview, and I'm just sparing the viewer from all of the footage of this man because we're also done. He says they're giving him a big prize, Iran. Yes. He also said they have taken out the entire regime, yet they are negotiating with the regime. So just what I showed you there about the semantics, they can't even keep this guy unscripted. And then there's reporting this morning that people in the White House were mystified about Trump speaking about Iran, giving him a surprise.
Here's the thing.
Tony, I'm still going with golden butt plug. I don't know what you guys have for your guesses in the chat there, but I'm still going with golden butt plug.
He has to, first of all, he has to say nobody's ever seen anything like it, which is a clue that he has completely fucked something up, in my opinion. And the price thing, it's like you're sending ground troops. We have paramilitary troops that have been sent over there while you are saying, oh, we're not at war. We completely won. We're so bad and tough and cool. When the reality is Anybody who can pay one bit of attention understands that the U.S. is not in a strong position right now. That is,
of course not, and they're spot on with their calculation of that. And again, the back and forth and the lack of a cohesive message, coherent plan, end goals. Anything that you could establish would be a victory in this regard. Any off ramps right now it's so blatant and so apparent every time this administration, this regime talks, whether it's, again, Pete Hegseth or General Kane or Donald Trump or Marco Rubio or the rest of these fucking genocidal freaks that we have running this government right now. Like, it's very clear that there is absolutely still no plan and that they are very worried. There's even reporting to suggest that Trump and the Pentagon behind the scenes are working with some satellite imagery companies to make sure that people can't kind of get the evidence to see as far as the destruction, the damage being caused to the U.S. bases in the region. So again, goes to show you how much they don't want the information to get out there and how much, just like Israel, they're willing to kind of control and manipulate what you're going to see and how you see it in order to fit their agenda, in order to fit their propaganda of what they want you to believe. So I'll get you guys out of here. To everybody watching over on this space, I really do appreciate you guys. Thank you to Matt. Thank you to the mod. You guys are incredible as always. I really do appreciate being a part of this coalition. I do believe I can hand it over to Jeff, my man Jeff over on this space right now. He's always kicking ass as far as this political game is concerned. So make sure you're heading over there, subscribe to this space, and make sure you're checking out Jeff's content. I appreciate you, Matt. I appreciate you, mods. You guys have a wonderful day. And make sure if you're in the Blunt Politics chat, you stick around so we can thank everybody that contributed either via Venmo or whether you sent in a super chat, a super sticker, or anything else. But I appreciate you guys this space. Appreciate you, Jeff. Make sure you're kicking some ass, brother. All right. I appreciate you guys over here on Blunt Politics side of things as well. Thank you guys so much for everything that you do. Look at how awesome you guys are. There you are. What's up, Mark P? What's up, my brother? Appreciate you in there. Appreciate you, brother. What's up, Nola? What's going on, Rocks? What's up, George? What's going on? All right, let's get into thanking some fabulous individuals, as we always do at the end of the show. Appreciate you guys for sticking around. Appreciate you guys for your fight, your passion, your aggression. All right, let's see here. So we got Tanya. Thank you so much, Tanya M, for your contribution today. Tanya says, make the cult strong. I appreciate that, Tanya. I appreciate that. We're trying to weaken one at the same time. So it's kind of like two hands on that one. But thank you so much to Yakov as well. Appreciate you, Yakov, and everybody else from the last couple of days, whether it's Jeffrey or Adam or Andrea or Suzanne or Jenny Faye or Maria, Roger, Michelle. Thank you to Tom, who just sent in another. Oh, Tom, thank you so much. Are you in the hospital? Tom sent a very, very generous Venmo over and says hospital again. Are you in the hospital? That's a shame. We wish you all the best. Let me know if there's anything that can be done. If you need anything, we're right here for you. So sorry to hear that, if that is the message, if I'm getting the message correctly on that one. And also, before we go on any further, thank you, V. I see V just threw in another 6. Profanity funding. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, guys. All you guys sneaking those in there in the last second there. But also, there's another person in need in our community. I would just like to kind of raise everybody's awareness, bring some attention to the fact that when somebody in our community is in need, we try to do everything possible. A good friend of the show and also mod here, Adam, obviously went through those horrific and horrendous storms in Hawaii, with more creeping up, if I'm not mistaken. So Adam has started a GoFundMe because of the devastation, because of the destruction and the situation that he's now in. If anybody has, a dollar or two, anything that you can contribute to Adam's GoFundMe to try to help him, try to get back on his feet and get everything back to whatever normal, whatever you can consider normal may be, right, in his situation. So, Adam, we're with you, my brother. We're sorry that you're facing all these troubles. And again, I'm more than willing and more than happy to use the platform to try to, better off the people that are, have been really supportive of the show and have been here from since day one. So if anybody's in the position to do so, if you're not in the position to do so financially, if you could just share out, I believe the mods have the link in the chat. So if you could just share out that link, maybe somebody stumbles upon that is in the financial position to do so. I know every time we do something like this, I do appreciate the situation that everybody's in. I understand not everybody can do everything for everyone. But again, if you do find yourself having a buck or two lying around, that's a good place that it could go to where, it's helping some good people in the community get back on their feet. So before I forgot about that, and also the VIP Zoom tomorrow as well. I'll be sending out the link for the Zoom tomorrow during the day. So don't forget that as well. If anybody's signed up at patreon.com/BostonBrian, this time at the VIP level, you will get access to that link, and then I'll be giving you the dates for the 2 Zoom chats that we have every month for every Patreon member that signed up. So again, patreon.com/BostonBrian, Venmo up here in the corner. If you want to send a buck or two, totally up to you. Appreciate you guys, and you can also sign up for a YouTube membership and check out the Blunt Politics shop. Okay, let's continue. So thank you to you guys that have been sending in those Venmos there at the last second. I really do appreciate you both. V, I appreciate you, Tom. Appreciate you, Tanya. Thank you guys so much. And then over here on the YouTube side of thing, we got Patrick. Thank you so much, Patrick. Emotional, but definitely not financial backing. All right, the emotional backing is okay. The emotional backing is okay. And Patrick, you cracking me up with this, dude. I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Julie, as well. Appreciate you, Jules. Thank you so much for the 19 months here. Very appreciative, a very valued member of the community, as always, and we certainly will vote blue. Thank you, Julie. Hope you're having a wonderful day. We'll see you this afternoon. And then today, to round it off, JD. Let's fucking go, JD. Going right in the swear jar, as usual. Salute to you, my friend. Thank you for everything that you've been doing. Thank you for everything that you continue to do. Everybody reaching out on Venmo, everybody that's kind of had got something from the Blunt Politics shop. I know we're still kind of in the early stages of setting that back up. We're trying to add different things, and if you got ideas and suggestions, you guys just let me know, and we'll make sure to take care of you. But thank you to everybody who contributed today, and I will see you tonight 8:30 here on the East Coast, 5:30 on the West Coast for another episode of Blunt Politics. I'm Boston Brian. That's this show. That's Blunt Politics. I just said that's this one right here that you're watching. So hit that like button on the way out. Subscribe to the channel. Like I said, we're trying to get to 20,000 subscribers before midterms. If I'm being realistic, we're trying to get to 17,000 before midterms. But again, if you can't set a goal way and above what you really want to get to, then what's the point of setting goals, right? So let's go for 20. Let's go for 20. Thank you to the mods. Thank you to the best chat on earth. I really do appreciate and love you guys. Thank you so much for all the support. Adam, we appreciate you, brother. Thank you for all your help, and we wish you the best. Sending good vibes to you. Sending good vibes to Marsha and everybody else in need in the chat as well. We love you. We appreciate you. Take care, and I will see you guys this evening. All right, and let me see if this one works. Hopefully this exit works at this point in time. Hopefully I'm hitting the right button. All right, I'll see you this evening. Stick to what you know.
God bless the United Church. The kidney has a very special place in the heart. It's an incredible thing. It's a new form of vicious violation to our country. Somebody said, is that a Trump statement or is that real? Here's a thought. Grow a sack, fill it with some balls. We're inviting Americans from all across the country to come. To officially name the undisputed, when did this come out? For minors, do we love minors? I love minors. They're just getting acclimated. You know what that means, acclimated?
We always do about this time.
I am the chosen one. You'll have a group of Venezuelan killers, street gangs, occupying the town with MK-47s. I know that gun very well. I got to know it. I've become
Call them dumps, big massive dumps.
referred to my hands. If they're small, something else must be small.
Hey, you got a little chubby going there.
Gettysburg, what an unbelievable battle that was. The Battle of Gettysburg, what an unbelievable, I mean, it was so much and so interesting and so vicious and horrible and so beautiful in so many different ways. It represented such a big portion of the success of this country. Gettysburg, wow. I go to Gettysburg, Pennsylvania to look and to watch. Army manned the air. It ran the ramparts. It took over the airports. It did everything it had to do. We're a nation that just recently heard that Saudi Arabia and Russia will repeat.